Firstly, the half parable is about how to really read parables. It's called the Song of the Bird. Um, it's from somewhere. I don't know where it's from. It was collected by Anthony Himello in a book called The Song of the Bird. But okay, here goes. The disciples were full of questions about God. Said the Master, God is unknown, the unknowable. Every statement about him, every answer to your questions is a distortion of the truth. The disciples were bewildered. Then why do you speak of him at all? Why does the bird sing? Said the Master. The bird sings not because he has a statement, but because he has a song. The words of the scholar are to be understood. The words of the Master are not to be understood. They are to be listened to as one listens to the wind in the trees and the sound of the river and the song of the bird. They will awaken something within the heart that is beyond all knowledge. First, this is a parable from the Levant area, so I guess northwest, yeah, the North Middle East, I guess. Okay, love and sacrifice. It is said that there was once a king who fell deeply and hopelessly in love with one of his subjects. Despite the king's power and success, he knew that only now he had found his true meaning and purpose, and it was her. He no longer considered anything his own, but offered it all freely to her. She was given the castle as her own, and servants to wait on her every need. It was obvious that the beautiful young woman was deeply touched by the king's passion and generosity. Yet, he felt unable to truly touch her heart. Then, to make matters worse, she soon fell ill. First with sleeplessness, and then with a fever that would not ease. Despite the best efforts of the king's personal doctors, the illness grew steadily worse. And so on, in desperation, he sent out a decree that the one who could cure his beloved of this affliction would receive anything that lay in the power of the great king to bestow. As one might expect, from such an offer, people with a variety of motives came from all over the known world with prayers, potions, and pills that promised a cure. But nothing worked. Soon, the king fell into a deep and cavernous despair. However, all was not lost. For one afternoon, he received word that a traveling sage of great renown sought an audience to discuss his beloved's worsening illness. The king agreed to meet the sage and was soon greeted by a kindly old man. My friend, I have no need for treasure, for the heavens above are my blanket, and the people I meet on the road feed me as I feed them. But I am deeply moved by your plight and think that I might be able to help, for I have seen such an affliction before, a very long time ago, in the one whom I deeply loved and think I might now know the cure. Please, may I see this woman who has stolen your heart, so that I might confirm my suspicions. The old man spoke with a voice that sounded as old as time itself, and he uttered each word as if it had been mined from the very depths of human experience. And so the king began to feel hope well up within him once more. Please, go now and see her, and hurry back with any news. And so the sage went and sat with the king's beloved, for a full day before returning with the diagnosis. "It is just as I thought," said the sage, "and there is a cure which will have immediate effect." "This is wonderful," replied the king. "Let us waste no more time. But wait, before I continue, you must know that the cure is a profoundly painful one, and one that will leave deep and lasting scars. So be it. She will understand that the best cures are often the most painful, and she will be able to live with any scars at all. All I care is that she be cured." "But you fail to understand, my friend," said the sage with a heavy heart. "The suffering and scars will not be hers. They will be yours. Before you came along, her heart was already intertwined with another. In all your generosity and kindness, you took her away from him. Give her your blessing to leave, and she will heal." And one last parable, which is very close to me. It's one that I wrote, unlike the other two, and of course, I should be taken as a parable, not as a theological statement. So, yeah, it's called The Rich Man and Lazarus. There was a rich man who was deeply involved with social causes and was sure to like and retweet them. He recycled, bought only fair trade coffee, drove an electric car, wore Tom's shoes. He was socially conscious in every way. He made it a point not to drink, smoke, or chew, or run with the girls that do. He was involved at church and smiled and talked of how blessed he was. At the same time, there was a poor homeless man named Lazarus who was struggling with a drug problem, lived on the streets in the inner city. He only wore tattered shoes and clothes, and if he got coffee, it was the cheapest he could find. At library computers, he would look at pictures of scantily clad women. He often made crude jokes, discussed conspiracy theories, and he threw plastic into normal trash cans. This man did not make it out of high school and faced great difficulties with employment. The rich man and Lazarus never saw each other in this life because the rich man lived in the suburbs with the good-natured people. One winter, cold and diseased Lazarus used the last of his cash to go to a pharmacy and buy some glove warmers, aspirin, and cigarettes. Some days later, Lazarus dies and his soul is taken away. After a good long life of attentive social philanthropy, the rich man also dies, albeit with many of his friends and family around him, and his soul too is taken away. The rich man finds himself in heaven with Abraham. Looking down, he sees Lazarus burning in the fiery pits of hell. Lazarus looks up, and seeing the rich man, he begs Abraham to let the rich man bring a drop of water for his parched tongue. But Abraham replies, "Remember, you did not do good during your life. You did not care for others, for the environment, or for the many causes you were exposed to on Facebook. But this rich man did, and more importantly, he kept himself away from the pollution of the world, from those such as you. You are where you belong." But Lazarus insisted, "Please, Father, at least send him to the poor in my town, on the streets, in the parks, in the crack houses, and tell them this news." But Abraham refused. Even if a man is raised from the dead, the poor will not accept and follow the right path. Have you not heard? It is easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than it is for a poor, homeless, minority, non-gender, binary, post-colonial to live an ethical